to Jake Jackets. Gear up to fire the cannon and hit the ice with your host, Jay Ashdown and Jake Gehringer.
Been a good day. Been a very good day.
This is going to be a fun one.
Back. I'm thrilled. I'm having a good day.
This is about to be a fun-ass show.
Yeah, we got the breaking news.
We got stuff that broke over the course of the day, over the last hour, which I honestly don't want to get to the breaking stuff first.
Why not? It's breaking.
Because I want to get to the big stuff first.
What's the big stuff?
Isn't
the breaking stuff the big stuff?
The big stuff is Beijing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's fun.
So,
I'm excited about that.
The NHL's going to the Olympics, and it's honestly, like we talked about Tuesday, we needed this.
Been a long time. I mean, last time we saw him there was, 2014?
Yeah, it was TJ Sochi was the last time. And it's going to be really cool. I'm interested to see how, like, if they do no fans.
Right, but it's going to happen in 2022, so, like, I mean, it should be fine.
Maybe
fans,
minimal.
I think. Yeah.
Like some sort of limited capacity.
Right.
And then the other thing too is I just found this out. Apparently it was a big sticking point in the last CBA from the players that they basically wouldn't agree to anything the league said unless they figured out a way to go. And they would have just shut the whole plan down.
Right. I was trying to think, like, I just had to look it up. When that was so long ago, that those 2014 Olympics, when TJ Oshie became a hero, he was still a Blue at that point.
He was, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Holy crap. So when did he go to Washington? Like
he went, so it was the 2015-16 season.
15-16. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's so long ago. There's so much that happened.
It's crazy because, like, he played a long time in St. Louis. Like, a long time in St. Louis. And it feels like he wasn't even a Blue at this point. Like it's been so long since he was there that, like, I forget that sometimes he played for them.
Well, because he was in Sid's draft year. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that incredible draft.
Like, oh my gosh. It was like him and Sid and Bobby Ryan, and there were so many misses in that first round, but at the same time, like, if you really look off the board, like we talked about last week with
I mean, Carey Price went 5th, Kopitar went 11th.
Oh wait, shoot, I have something.
Rask went 21st.
I have a tweet that is gonna make you upset.
James Neal went 33rd. Stasny went 44th.
Okay.
Chris Letang went 62nd. This is a good draft.
Yeah,
Jonathan
really
Quick,
good draft for the Penguins, honestly.
Ben Bishop. This is a good goalie draft. They've had in this draft we have Ben Bishop, Jonathan Quick, Carey Price. Like, damn, those are all in the first 3 rounds.
Comment on a Hockey Guy video about that draft from Lou Fang. Fun fact, if the Canadiens had done what Pierre Maguire demanded and taken Brûlé, Kopitar would have been taken at 6 by Columbus. Their scouts had Kopi down, but McLean said that when Brûlé fell to them, he couldn't pass up. What disgruntled scouts leaked to the media, however, was that McLean didn't trust his staff and pulled rank. that it was a repeat of taking Zherdev over Vanek. So basically, if it weren't for Doug McLean, we would have at the time, we would have had a top line of Rick Nash, Anze Kopitar, and Thomas Vanek.
And then there's no Jeff Carter trade.
Man.
But then again, that changes the course of everything because like the seasons change and whatnot, your picks change. Like that change. Like there's such a domino effect from that. You don't know what happens, but definitely would have been fun to have a top line of Nash, Kopitar, and Vanek.
That would have been so much fun, especially like
that simple decision
at that point in time too. Sorry, I think I chopped my finger a little bit today.
Right.
At work.
That small change in history, the Kings don't win 2 Stanley Cups.
Yeah. That's wild.
It's crazy, like what one small decision it feels like just one decision just changed an entire draft and everything changes.
Yeah, because like you wonder if they would still come away with Quick.
You would wonder. I mean, maybe they do, but maybe their next picks change. Like, oh, we didn't get Kopitar, the guy we wanted at 11, so we take a different center, and that guy doesn't work out. And it's crazy. Like things change all the time. So
we're completely off on a tangent already. Because
it's just interesting.
This is just how we work as this is just how our brains work. Is we get off on certain other tangents when we're trying to talk about one specific topic.
Right.
That's just how we are as fans and how we are as friends.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to Beijing, and I'm so excited. I can't wait to figure out like if the games are going to be at like 5 a.m.
Didn't they announce that John Hines was going to be the coach of Team USA?
He's going to be an assistant.
Okay. I was going to say, if he was the head coach, then prepare to be
No.
fit.
I don't remember who the head coach is. Oh, no, it's Mike Sullivan, because of course it is.
Okay. I feel a little bit more comfortable with that, but
Hines is an assistant.
So we'll finish 4th.
Ryan Miller's an assistant.
Ooh, I like that.
I love it.
Big fan of Ryan Miller.
I'm a huge fan of Ryan Miller, and I mean, people know this from when we talked about when he retired. Did he retire when the show was on?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, it was like right after.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm super excited, and I really want to see like this is for our Canadian friends like Kevin. Like, dude, imagine a triple M line of McKinnon, McDavid, Mitch Marner. Oh boy.
Well, it's a good thing that Team USA has stellar defensemen to go up against that, like Seth Jones.
Oh God. I really want to see watch. Canada is going to be so stacked that their third line is going to be like Marchand, Crosby, Stamkos.
God, they're just so stacked. Like some of the lines they're going to put out are going to be comical.
I
Their
know.
fourth line is going to be a joke.
Their fourth line is going to be literally like what we wish our first line could be.
Yeah.
And I will say, like, for teams that like had to play in the little qualifier, I'm not going to sleep on any of them, honestly, except for maybe China.
Yeah.
China's literally...
Denmark was fun to watch in that.
Yeah, Ollie with a hat trick.
Yeah, because I mean, like obviously, like they're not like loaded with NHL talent, but they still have Nick Ehlers and they've got Oliver Bjorkstrand. Like they've got some talent there. It's just not a complete roster in terms of NHL talent.
I read that Nick Ehlers in the 3 qualifying games, he had 3 points each.
Like in each of the games?
He had a total of 9 points.
Jesus.
Guy's a beast.
He's so good.
He's so good. He's one
of the most underrated stars in our game right now.
especially like with stuff that he does on the ice to help opponents. Like remember what he did to help protect
Oh yeah,
Jake
yeah,
Evans after he went down.
yeah. Certified good guy, certified elite player, not talked about enough.
We do need to talk about guys in the vein of Nikolai Ehlers need talked about enough. There's just that one like weird one C tier that really needs more talking. You know
What do
what
you
I
mean?
mean?
Let's see.
Well, because I feel like, okay, you have your guys like McDavid and Crosby and Ovechkin. Those are 1A guys, right?
Yeah,
And then you have guys that are in that top tier conversation, but don't necessarily get like they get kind of shrugged off, like McKinnon and Draisaitl and Mitch. I think Austin would be more along that 1A group. Marchand's probably in that 1B group, right? And then you have guys like Nick Ehlers and Mark Scheifele and Kyle Connor that really get like super slept on.
yeah. Okay, I see what you mean.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you could really
You said
break
1C,
down.
and I was like, I don't think he's a center.
No.
It's like last time I checked, he was always been a winger.
Yeah, he's usually
Yeah, but like everybody talks like about the Jets, and it's like, you know, the first two names that like everybody seems to bring up, like, and I get it, like they bring up
Scheif and
Scheifele,
Wheeler.
obviously, and Wheeler, but
and then
like
maybe
you can make the argument that like Kyle Connor and Nick
are you
Ehlers
just
are the
talking
best
about
forwards
skaters?
at this point. Yeah, skaters, not like
Yeah, because like if you're talking about general players, it would be Scheif, Wheeler, Hellebuck, then Connor, and then Ehlers, I would say.
yeah, hell, but I'm just specifically talking about skaters, like in terms of like really forwards.
Yeah.
Like their forward group, everybody talks about Scheifele and Wheeler and it's understandable for good
Oh
reason.
yeah,
But like,
and Connor.
I mean, good lord, Kyle Connor and Nick Ehlers are like completely underrated because of it.
Austin, you could have had that Connor kid.
Well, also, hey, look, man, it happens. I mean, at least they didn't pass up on Matt Barzal and Tom Shabatu.
Oops.
I said at least they didn't.
Well, yeah.
Better hope Zach's finishing works out.
Ooh, yeah. You want to talk college for a sec?
Sure.
So, the newest NHL franchise held a big fundraiser because a former opponent of mine in Alaska Anchorage was having a lot of funding troubles.
Yeah.
And the same's going out for Robert Morris too.
Yeah, I've been on that a little bit too because they're in Canisius's conference. It sucks. I mean, that's a good program there.
We played them for Bowling Green played them for our 50th anniversary of the Ice Arena when Doc came back to broadcast.
Yeah, I remember that. And like it sucks because like the Pittsburgh area, like they really seem to like galvanize around the Robert Morris team. Like a lot, it gets a pretty important college and program.
And both Alaska teams are really important. Both Absolutely. Anchorage and Fairbanks.
Yeah.
Like obviously you don't see a lot of talent go through there
too often. Matter. Like you got a lot of kids, like these kids play college hockey with the dreams of just continuing to play, maybe play pro, like whether it be like AHL, ECHL, or overseas. Like these kids just want to play hockey. And it sucks that some of these colleges are struggling to fund their programs because college hockey is awesome. And
it's the best. Like
it is.
Honestly,
it's amazing.
Like it's weird because like everybody talks about the spectacle of going to an NHL game, and there's plenty of it. Everybody's got their thing. Like the Blackhawks have, Chelsea Dagger. Columbus has the Cannon. Every team has their little thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, like they don't have it anymore, but for a while, the Penguins had the fact that they played in a freaking igloo.
Oh.
Like it's cool as hell. Like, know, and even like for other sports too, like they're kind of stealing our thunder a little bit, but Tampa Bay's got that big pirate ship with the cannon.
Oh yeah, at the Bucks Stadium.
The Bucks, yeah, like there's a lot of like draws and spectacles that teams have.
Yeah, but I honestly like the homely feel of a college ice arena better, because like you look at it and it's just there's not much to it, because it's also for like public stuff.
And you can still get like really cool college rinks that have like their own kind of character to it as well.
I mean, me with my people with the bleacher creatures.
Yeah.
Because student sections make or break those arenas.
They do. Like RIT in our conference has probably the best student section. Their arena's super nice. But can you just they play downtown at Harbor Center, which is pretty nice. It's also where the Sabres do like their training camp and stuff like that. Ooh, it's nice. It's a nice place. Like, but there's nothing better in college hockey, in my opinion, than some of like the old barns, like Union's rink. That thing is old as hell. It's like, how like people say, oh, the barn's rocking. That thing, it feels like it's actually played in a barn.
Right.
But it's such a cool like throwback like.
It's like you could have the Brian Burke Kevin Lowe barn fight in there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'd pay money to see it.
The barn fight that never went down.
God, we were robbed.
Did you watch that Hey Berkey episode? Because it's so good. Like both of them.
Yeah.
That whole series is so much fun. The way it's
animated. I love Brian Burke. Burke is just an awesome guy to listen to.
Burke is great. Merrick's fun.
Yeah.
Like a lot of those Sportsnet guys they do such good work. And I can't wait to hear what Elliot and Merrick have to say about the Montreal stuff here in a minute, whenever they put that episode out. But I'm still teasing that because we ain't done. I put this kind of low on the list.
Fair.
Like mid-show list.
Okay.
But yes, from a rival like alum, I'm so glad that Seawolves hockey is back.
Yeah. Well, because it doesn't matter if they're a rival or not. Like we want to see these teams because if you lose a rival, then like that's you lose like that fun matchup that you get all the time.
I mean, we're former rivals now that the CCHA is back.
Right.
But still, it's like I'll probably still end up following a lot of the WCHA teams that are like still there, because a lot of us that were around when I was in school in that conference moved to the newly formed CCHA.
Yes. Yeah.
It was us and Ferris and Lake Superior, Michigan Tech.
Did Minnesota State go too?
I can't remember. They may have.
I feel like Mankato did.
I do love games against Tech. Oh.
Yeah.
Games against Tech are so crazy because you look and you have plenty of Tech fans there too, and it looks like you're playing against Boston, and it's just like, what the hell are you doing here?
Right.
It feels like a bigger game than it is.
Tell you, man, you get a good college like hockey rivalry game that like both sides should like I was talking about this with like one of my friends. Now this was like a tournament game, but like this past tournament when you had two like bitter rivals in Minnesota Duluth and North Dakota going at it, and it's in North Dakota, but that game went like 5 overtimes, and
that went about as long as that first bubble Columbus Tampa game, I think.
Yeah, like it was crazy. It was like stupid long. Like these poor kids are getting exhausted. The goal finally goes in. It was more than 3. I know that for a fact. But Minnesota Duluth finally scores and win the game. It's like the crowd going nuts. Like you see both sides of it. It's like so much fun to watch. Like,
oh yeah,
it's amazing.
Is that around here?
Yeah. These kids outside. I'm close my window. I have to keep my window open because it's
Stuffy.
a million degrees in here, but I need to close it now because I live on a college campus
Right.
and we're recording a podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
God.
The Summer of Lou has finally burst open.
Oh my God. Yeah, this dude.
This guy waiting and waiting and waiting. And
By the
finally...
way, sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
It went 5 overtimes. I was right. Go ahead.
Oh, the Duluth game?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, Lou has finally announced 4 signings, and then there's another follow-up story to this that we'll get to as soon as we get through this term.
Speaking of term, let's talk about Casey Cizikas.
Yeah. Okay. So the 4 contracts were Casey Cizikas, 6 years. I can't remember his money off the top of my head. 2.5. I mean, yeah, good for him, especially with the role he plays.
Yeah. I mean, he's a really, really good bottom 6 center, wins faceoffs.
Perfect fourth line guy.
He's unbelievable defensively. He's as efficient as it gets defensively. Mm-hmm. Any team would want a guy like that around. So I totally get extending him. And you do get a discount by signing him to the contract that you sign him to, in terms of the actual term.
Yeah.
It might bite you in the ass down the line, but
now,
even then, 6 years from now, the cap is going to eventually start to go up. It might not be too bad in 6 years, but we're going to have to see.
Yeah. I would say here in the next 2 or 3, we're going to start to see small rises in the cap.
Mm-hmm.
Once we actually start returning normal.
Right.
Or at least as normal as we can get. Right. But Casey is a great signing, especially for what he brings to that team as their 4th line center. Him, what's their identity line? It's him and...
It's him, Clutterbuck, and Martin.
Is it Clutterbuck or is it... I know him and Komarov might switch that center spot now that I think about it.
Yeah, it might be.
They might swap.
I know Martin's on that line.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Every time I think of the name, the identity line, I think of Matt Martin.
That's the thing. I love how the Islanders are built, man, because you have your throwback kind of guys that obviously Lou would love, a guy that's been around the league for so long. Your grit guys. You got Matt Martin, you got Cal Clutterbuck, you got Leo Komarov. You've got your analytical darlings. You got Adam Pelech, you got Ryan Pollock, you got Casey Cizikas, and then you got some really good guys up front, offensively, Barzal's your star.
You had Jordan Eberle.
Yeah, but even then, you still got other really solid players. You got Anders Lee,
Anthony Beauvillier,
who I really like, and we'll get to his in a second.
I love Beauvillier.
I like how they're constructed as a team.
And
even in net, man,
we got
Varlamov and Sorokin
with his new deal.
Yeah.
So do we want to hit Ilya next?
Yeah, let's just do it since we're on him. He got 3 years. What was it, 4.1 million?
Ilya Sorokin has $4 million a year, 3 years.
Okay. So I like that deal. I mean, you're not overpaying for. What I like about this deal is this guy's only spent 1 year with your team. You saw some really good out of him.
He was lights out.
Consistency. I like it because rather than signing him to a 1 or 2 year, you're giving him a little bit more money up front, but you're getting that extra year. So rather than doing your typical bridge deal, which would be a 2-year deal, they're getting that extra year out of it, and they're still not paying him a very high amount. $4 million is incredibly reasonable for him.
Plus, he understands that the system there is a tandem through and through.
Yeah.
Like it's a full even split in net.
100%. And it's never been, like Semyon Varlamov is one of the more underrated goalies, I would say, in the NHL the last 10 years.
Oh yeah, because you don't talk about him much, but when you
he's not considered an elite goalie, and I wouldn't say that he is, but
not anymore.
he's been I don't know if he's ever really been elite, but he's been like pretty good his entire career.
Yeah.
And pretty reliable his entire career.
That's all you can really ask for minimum out of your goalie is just be reliable. Absolutely. And stop pucks. Like,
yeah,
something that few guys that we've talked about in the past haven't really done.
So let's get to AB.
Oh yeah, Beauvillier.
Yeah,
this guy is
big fan of that deal.
This guy is our age. He's 24 years old. 3 years.
He's your age. He's not my age.
You're what? 2 years younger than me?
I'm 22.
22? Okay, yeah. So, yeah.
I'm still young.
I'm still young. 4.15 cap hit. Yeah. So he got basically just over what Sorokin's making.
I like this deal a lot too, and it's a similar thing that I think rather than giving the typical 2-year bridge deal, you give him the extra year with a little bit more money up front. Because I hear this contract, I'm like, okay, you get him 3 years. He should still be an RFA at the end of this, right? Or at least he'll have arbitration rights.
He will be.
Because he'll be 26, right?
Let me look at the contract details. Expiry status unrestricted.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, then that makes this a little bit more interesting then, because I thought he was going to be an RFA with arbitration rights at the end of it. That actually makes this a little bit more interesting because who knows, maybe after 2 years they can come to like another extension with him and keep him long term.
Well, it's all the same money through and through.
Right. I don't know, man. I don't know. I like this deal a little bit less now that I know that he's a UFA at the end of it.
I mean, he's okay. So if we think about the Islanders' top 6, right? Mm-hmm. It's probably somewhere along the lines of Honorsley with Barzal at center, and then on the right, like Josh Bailey on your top line.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Beauvillier on the left. I can't remember a lot of their guys. Maybe.
Yeah, because you might. Here's the thing, like that. He's played really well with Barzal, so you might put him on a line with Barzal.
You could
Bailey
swap
as your second center.
You could. And then
they have options. There's a lot of they have a lot of flexibility within their top 6. All that matters is their top 6 forwards are Lee, Barzal, Bailey, Beauvillier, and Paul Mary, who they just also extended. We'll get to that in a second.
We keep saying these guys ahead of time.
Yeah.
And their surprise that's no longer really a surprise. I don't know if he's going to make the top 6 or not.
Right.
But okay, Beauvillier. Let's talk Palmer, because he's right at the top of this list of the Isles signings.
All right.
That just happened.
Again, another Lou guy, another analytical darling.
He's 30, like Cizikas.
30 though. 5 year was
4.
it 5 years? 4 years, 5 million. 4. Okay, so I had those back. Taking him to the end of what would be his age 34 season, it's actually not too bad. I thought the term could have been a lot worse. Like a lot of people were freaking out about the fact that he was given $5 million. Oh my God, $5 million right now. But I'm like, man, you shave off some of that term,
and you shave your beard again all the time.
I like the fact that it's only a 4-year deal. You can live with the $5 million so long as it's not an absurdly long deal.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that they're like kind of betting that like at least with the play style that Cizikas is going to be able to hold up for about 4 to 5 years. The last year might not be great, but like he should be fine for the next 4 to 5 years.
Because he's always been your fourth line guy. And
Yeah,
then
so he's not playing as many minutes. He's not like an absurdly physical player. He's more your defensive kind of anchor on your fourth line.
Right. But this is Kyle Palmieri we're trying to talk about.
I know that's why I'm saying like I like the fact that they gave a longer term deal to Cizikas. I understand why they did that, but as far as Palmieri is concerned, I'm glad that they decided, okay, we're fine with getting a little bit more money up front, so long as we shave off some of the term.
Yeah, as long as he can keep up that production from like later New Jersey,
right,
to when he first got
he was
there.
good in the playoffs.
He was great in the playoffs.
So like,
except for when
another guy who's really good in the playoffs for the Islanders.
Except for when he does things like elbows Charlie McAvoy right in the head.
Well, I mean, did he get suspended?
No. So apparently elbowing people in the head is legal.
It's okay. Apparently, it's okay. As a matter of fact, we recommend it. Unless, of course, you get caught. Then we don't recommend it.
Oh, yeah. God, we need to have like a section of a podcast later where we just bitch about officiating.
Like some other twice.
So yeah, I'm trying to look back at the list now. Palmieri, Beauvillier, Cizikas, Sorokin. Tidy work by Lou Lamoriello.
It's a Lou Lamoriello classic, man. This guy does not age as a GM.
He's
still got it.
It's so weird because like you would think you can look back at some of his moves and say, oh, this is weird. This is, like age catching up to Lou Lamoriello. And then you finally look at it later and you're like, oh, he still got it.
Yeah, like a lot of these moves, like I'm getting at a point with Lou Lamoriello where I'm like, you know what? I don't care how old he is. Whatever move he makes, I'm just going to trust it. Like when Ken Holland does something, I'm like, oh my God, someone take this guy's phone away. This guy's getting old. Call him to the nursing home. Like this man, he's got to retire. Like, there's some GMs who are like that. Like David Poyle's starting to get there. He's not there yet because he still does pull off some really good moves, but he does have some of those like, what the hell are you doing, man, kind of moves.
Again, we talked about him the last episode where it's like, he's been there the whole time in Nashville. So it's like
Doug Wilson is starting to get there too, along with Ken Holland. Like some GMs just kind of get into that phrase. Lou Lamoriello has not hit that yet. And he's like what, well into his 80s?
He's 78.
Oh, he's 78?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's a little younger than I thought, but still, I mean, 78 is not exactly
spring chicken.
Yeah.
It's fun though, because like he is actually his decisions and him honestly are like aging like wine.
Oh, we got breaking news.
Oh, what's breaking?
So let's just get into this right now. It's the Montreal Canadiens. So they let Jesperi Kotkaniemi go to the Carolina Hurricanes. They did not match. They got a first and a third out of it. They just traded a 2020 second first round pick and a 2024 second round pick for Christian Dvorak.
So they did go after Dvorak.
Yeah, that's official.
So let me put that in my notes. You can text me those details later.
Okay.
I mean, actually, I don't need to put them in the description. Never mind.
I mean, I like this. I think that this is an upgrade from Kotkaniemi, to be honest. I mean, we
talked about this Tuesday.
Points in 56 games. I like this a lot. He's got 4 more years at $4.5 million cap hit. That's a good cap hit for him too.
Now, did they use both of the picks that they just got to do that?
I'm not totally sure yet. If I find out, I'll let you know. Let's see.
Because what did you say it was? It was a first and
2020 second first, 2024 second.
Okay, so they didn't use the third.
Yes, they didn't use the third, but I don't know if the first that they used was
The one from this offer sheet. Okay. I like this for Carolina. I like this for Jesperi.
Yeah.
Because he finally gets a chance. Right?
Mm-hmm.
He gets like a better chance to show off what he can do as a third overall pick. Like we said, like that top three was Rasmus Dahlin, Andrei Svechnikov, and Jesperi. So that's a lot of hype.
Okay, so here we go. Cap friendly. Thank God for cap friendly. So Canadiens get Christian Dvorak. Arizona gets a 2020 second conditional first round pick. The condition is they're getting whichever one of the Montreal or Carolina pick is better.
I see.
So if that's a good trade for the Coyotes, because you're getting a good pick out of that. Whatever
Either
pick is
way,
the better pick
yeah.
is you're getting a good pick, and you're also going to get you're going to get a second round pick. That's pretty good. That's a good haul for Christian Dvorak, and I like this trade for the Canadiens too because they're upgrading from Kotkaniemi. The team that really loses here is Carolina. Good Lord, $6.1 million for Kotkaniemi and a first and third. That's
okay.
Brutal.
Money wise, sure. Player wise, I'm not so sure because he really does need to show that he's worth that. And again, he's 3 years out of his draft year, which isn't close, but it isn't too far either, where he's got time to show it.
He does. And it's what we talked about last podcast. Like could this kid come out, rejuvenated,
playing with
pissed
guys
off
like
that the Canadiens
and
decided not to match that offer. He's pissed off, but he's got the money. He's happy being Carolina, new coach, new system, everything. Could he come out and be the player that was drafted third overall and is worth $6.1 million? Sure, that could happen. Like, I'm not ruling that out. But have I seen anything from Jesperi Kotkaniemi that makes me think that he is going to do that? No.
Can you just imagine this for a second? Second overall pick in 2018 on the left of the third overall pick in 2018, and then Marty Nietzsche's on the right.
That would be a very, very fun line. I think they should do that. Like, you're paying a lot of money to this kid, and you're paying a first and a third. Put this kid in situations to be successful. Put him with Svechnikov.
And I mean,
let him do that.
Like, Carolina's run in a way where I believe that they will do that. They'll allow him to succeed.
They should, because the one good thing for Kotkaniemi here, outside of making $6.1 million, is the fact that he is going to a team that does have more offensive talent. So Svechnikov is better than any forward that on the Canadiens. There's not a better forward on the Canadiens than Andrei Svechnikov is on the Hurricanes. Marty Nietzsche is very good as well. And the other thing is the Canadiens, very much for the last several years, ever since Kotkaniemi has gone there, have been a defense-first style kind of hockey team. Whereas in Carolina with Rod Brind'Amour, they're more up-tempo. They're
offensively
very
minded.
much offensively minded, which definitely could help him out too. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's not to say that he can't succeed there and this can't end up being good for Carolina, but as of right now, the optics of everything, a lot of things have to go right for Carolina to end up, not the loser here.
Did you see there was a tweet that they just put out like right before we started that was like, who wants $20? And they were giving away a gift card for $20.
That's pretty funny.
The pettiness isn't over. Which I love when accounts like that, like Carolina's is my favorite. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that now. Like, sorry to Jeff or whoever runs Columbus's Twitter, but come on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Carolina's got one of the best social media teams.
I think we
in
can
the league.
agree who's the worst.
Who's that?
Vegas. It's not even close.
I do like my favorite part about that is when they show personality, right? And they just like Vegas is a little cringe.
Vegas is like, oh, let's do everything cringe.
Yeah. Vegas is pretty cringe, but at least they show that personality like Carolina does. And Seattle's starting to do that with their social as well. And it's fun. You know, it makes the cesspool of Twitter a lot more fun than it should be.
That's fair.
But yeah, I'm praying that JK gets, you know, the season that he deserves with that contract and that he can show what he can do.
Carolina's hoping too.
Yeah. But again, like we said, I want Svech, Kotkaniemi, Nietzsche's. Like, give it to us,
I
please.
think it'd be fun. And it's a lot of speed and a lot of skill on a line.
Yeah. It's crazy. I want to go back to the island for a minute.
Sure.
Because this was tweeted out by Michael Russo recently, who's, you know, general athletic hockey writer, but mainly focuses on the Minnesota Wild.
Yeah. Very, very good. I like him a lot.
He's a great writer. Parise to Isles is all but confirmed and released by social media and Lou.
Yeah, I figured as much. I mean, it's been the worst kept secret in hockey seemingly for the last, couple of months, ever since he got bought out of his contract by the Minnesota Wild, that this guy was going to go back to his boy Lou.
Right.
And it makes sense. And it's a solid addition to their bottom six, I think. That gives him a good third line winger. Yeah,
I would definitely say he's a third line guy at this point in his career.
He's not a guy that's going. Obviously, he's not the Zach Parise that he used to be. But I mean, this is a guy that could still give you like 10 goals, 30 points in a season.
He will still score. Yeah.
Yeah. He still gives you. He still produces, just not at a 7 whatever was. I think it was like $7.8 million cap hit.
Right. Ugh.
Yeah, that was brutal.
$96 million for 13 years. Ugh. Dude, Independence Day 2012 literally killed the Wild.
It did.
After getting, it was like, because everybody was vying for one or the other, and they got both.
And that team, yeah, both of them. The problem is like the fact that it was back when you could give out those ridiculous contracts.
The backdiving deals left and right.
The backdiving deals, like we saw so many of them that just ended up being horrible for some of these teams.
How many times have we talked about Shea Weber's offer sheet?
Shea Weber's offer sheet's brutal. I mean, come on. I mean, God, what was it, like 2014? Roberto Luongo literally came out and said, my contract sucks.
Yeah.
Like, there are so many of those deals that were just horrible. And, it makes you wonder, like where would the Minnesota Wild be today if the rule of max of 7 years can be offered in free agency? Because if they still get both of them, but they're only 7-year deals, then those contracts would have already been off their books.
And they would have looked fine.
Yeah.
Like they still, yeah. But then comes the question of, in 2019, who do you go out and replace him with, right?
Right. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe they bring him back, but you bring him back on short-term deals. Maybe bring him back on like 3-year deals.
Right.
Worth a lot less money than what they were making before.
Yeah. But I mean, the
past maybe not Suter, because Suter was still good. He's still good now, but
yeah, Suter still produces just below the level that he did.
Yeah. Just wasn't worth the money. It was more for the term than anything for these guys.
When At least when Ryan Suter's not passing tape to Christian Fisher.
Yeah.
I got that one play. Just from watching, dang, it's
That
like
one was one of the most brutal ones I've ever seen.
right on the tape, just like perfect.
Let me tell you, man. I'm surprised you didn't one time it. It was such a good pass.
Well, it was like the one where Tanner Pearson called Connor White's name in the empty arena.
Yeah. I love it. It's like, it's a good thing he didn't screw that one up, because I was thinking about this. I know we're talking about hockey, but it's like, I was thinking about this earlier. Sometimes, like, watching football, like, you see it. Like, I've listened to like interviews, like safeties. Sometimes there are quarterback throws that are so bad that the safeties drop it just because they're stunned that the ball headed in their direction.
They're like, wait a minute.
The ball's coming to them and they're just like, what the hell? I feel like if I had a pass in a game that bad, like come right to me, I'd just completely miss it.
I'm surprised people don't get blasted in the face shield with errant passes like that more often.
Yeah.
Like I remember I was playing just football in my front yard and we were just passing it. It was my buddy Michael and I. I wasn't completely paying attention, and he accidentally throws, like arcs it down and hits me right where my gut meets my legs. And I was down.
I believe you.
It was rough. It was exactly where Krejci cross-checked Barzal.
Yeah. No, I was able to sniff that out. It's a rough area.
Yeah, it's really tough right there. And I mean, we shouted out Steve already this episode, so I'm just gonna say, hey, I'm a part of their Discord, and it's a lot of fun.
Good.
Like, because they have channels for every team in each league, so you have plenty to talk about. And then there's like life advice, there's all of this stuff. There's so much to talk about in there, and it's always popping off. I joined it like right as it went live, and it's a blast in there.
That's what we love to see.
So yeah, Parise, I'm excited to see what he does. Like, where do they put him? Do they like, I'm trying to think, because the identity line is Martin, Komarov, or Cizikas and Clutterbuck, right?
I mean, if I was there, my fourth line would be Martin, Komarov, and Clutterbuck, and then third line I would put
Cizikas with Parise.
I put Parise with Cizikas, and whoever you want for your right wing option.
Right.
Makes it a little tough on the right wing because I don't know what they necessarily want to do. Is that losing Everly was tough for them?
Yeah.
It's not easy production to replace.
Not at all. At least production wise, no. But like, if you want to fill that third line role, you probably have maybe have a kid come out of camp or something.
You could. They could make a trade too.
Or trade, yeah. Shout out to the women in Canada, US, like and Canada, Russia. Oh my God, that Canada Russia round robin game was insanity. And then like the qualifier with the US and Canada was wild, and then the gold game, because of course it's going to be the gold game.
Right. It was unbelievable. That shot was just incredible. I tell you, man, I don't think I need to necessarily have to repeat it a million times. I'm just going to say it once for everybody out there. Support women's hockey. It's unbelievable. They're so much fun to watch. I mean, right here in Buffalo, they got the Buffalo Buttes. They're fun to watch because they also play at Harbor Center where Canisius plays.
I should mention that, I mean, obviously, so many people are already in that Discord, and not a lot of people follow this podcast, but they do have an NWHL category, which is great.
Yeah, of course.
Uh, Marie-Philippe Plan. And did you see? I can't remember who exactly it was off the top of my head, but like in the celebration, she like broke her leg
No,
and then came right back out to continue celebrating.
that's awesome.
I don't think it was. No, yeah, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, and I'm sorry for that, but that was awesome, and I want to see more like that.
Yeah, not necessarily people breaking their legs, but
Just good women's hockey.
yeah. There's a lot of it, man.
Debian.
Yeah. Women's college hockey is a lot of fun to watch too.
Yeah. The girls know what they're doing. It's fun.
Oh yeah.
What's I know this isn't exactly one of the phrases that Black Girl Hockey Club uses, but like that puts fight like a girl on a whole new level.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
It's awesome. You want to talk about our boys for a second? Because we haven't even really talked about them much.
What are we going to talk about them?
One thing that I found just scrolling Twitter, because The Athletic is doing their like pipeline series, like best prospect pools and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Columbus came in at 13th.
I like it. I mean, this draft helps out a lot with that, because I think a lot of people really like the Cole. A lot of people really like the Cole Sillinger pick. One of the best value picks in the draft, being able to get him where we got him. Carson Coleman's, I mean, I've talked about it so many times on this podcast. I love that kid. I think he's going to be really, really good on the back end. Right-hand shot defenseman, two-way guy. I love his game. And I'm excited to see him at Wisconsin this year. And I feel like he's probably going to be a 2-year college guy, but definitely. I think there's a little bit of Jacob Bernard Docker in him.
Ooh.
A little bit.
That's fun.
I like him a lot. So those are 2 picks. And then I didn't even talk about the guy who went 5th overall.
Kent, yeah.
Yeah.
Kent's gonna be a beast. And then like we still have guys like Fix Molansky and Josh Dunn and guys that we already have like in the system.
Yeah, and Tyler Angle too was
Angle and Carson. Like we gushed about Carson a few episodes ago.
Carson Meyer. Like him a lot. Like there's a lot to like with this. And that's not even getting, talking about the guys that we got, developing over Russia. We got Yegor Chinnikov. We got Kirill Marchenko, and then Dmitry Voronkov.
Yeah.
We're trying to get him over here. It's been a little bit of a struggle, but we should be able to get him. I think next year, and he's tearing it up. He's really, really good.
Is Chinnikov coming over this year?
He is.
He is.
He's probably going to be playing the majority of the season in Cleveland.
But it's
still good to have him here. Yeah,
I want to see it.
And I mean, as far as like goalies are concerned, we still got Daniil Tarasov.
Daniil's
there.
I
really like.
Elvis is going to be the long-term solution.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we both have such high praise for Elvis.
Yeah.
And that's not to say we don't have high praise for Jonas Korpisalo, because Corpy, like when he came up as Bob's backup, we were like, who is this guy? And then he turned out to be way better than we thought.
Right.
And then he got hurt in the Chicago game, and
I was at that
controversy
game. And that was a fun game to go to.
How are we involved in so many of those weird officiating controversies? Like,
I get so sick and tired of them, man. That was like one of the most ridiculous, because it was just like total like arrogance with it, like disregard for the clock. Not putting time back on. That was stupid.
Torts' meltdown was the best thing I've ever seen.
It was unbelievable.
Slamming down on the table.
It was justified. Like, I remember listening to that, like on the way home, being like, "Yeah, he's on."
And then Campbell throws out his word soup paper, like, Ugh. Ugh. And speaking of word soup, comeuppance for a recent thing uh, back in the province de Quebec. That's total butchering of the accent and probably pronunciation and everything. But
Yeah, I'm just gonna pretend that you didn't do that.
yeah, the London Knights and the OHL have indefinitely suspended Logan Mallioux.
Good.
Good. Yeah. He needs to work things out
Yeah.
at the very
And
least.
that is just a criminal understatement. You know what I mean? Like it's just it's there's a lot that's got to go into this.
Yeah, and I don't even know where you start with that.
I can't help but feel for the victim because it's just
Because she
the amount
never
of
gets
press about
mentioned,
this guy.
and it's
She
like,
never gets mentioned, and this kid gets mentioned all the time. Like, oh, he did this, and then he was drafted, and oh, he's been suspended, and it's like all I can think about is who effing cares.
yeah, that's how I felt with Mitchell Miller and Isaiah Meyer
Yeah.
Crothers too. Like,
Yeah.
why aren't we saying the kid's
why
name?
do we give a shit about Mitchell Miller? Why?
Well,
Let's just stop saying his name.
Yeah, what we should care about is people that were affected, like Isaiah Meyer Crothers and the woman involved in this case, which I mean, I still don't think they released her name, and I don't think they're going to.
And that's fine. If she doesn't want her name
totally
released,
just
it shouldn't be released. Yeah, totally. I don't want her to have to deal with that.
We got a shit ton more contracts to get through. You ready?
Sure.
Well, first of all, I want to say that Tomas Hertl is uncertain about his future in San Jose. Like, I want to see him stay, but with all the stuff surrounding Evander.
Yeah, I was wondering, is this a situation where he maybe wants to leave because he wants to win, or is this a situation where he doesn't want to be there anymore because he's not sure what they're going to do with Evander Kane?
Yeah, and I mean, maybe this turns out like a Claude Giroux situation where, I mean, similar in the fact that like Giroux knows he wants to try to stay, but he doesn't want to negotiate through the season.
Mm-hmm.
Tomas Hertl is different in that we don't know what he wants.
Yeah.
Maybe they work something out during the season. Maybe they don't. And they observe options, you know, throughout. He could be a trade chip. He could be this. He could be that. We don't know.
Right.
But I mean, I love Hertl power, man.
I mean, dude, he's really good. Like, I mean, like eye test analytics, like he checks every single box off. This guy is, I don't think he's a true number one center, but I think he's in that list of really, really, really good number two centers.
Oh yeah. He's definitely like a good 1B option.
100%.
But I mean, all the best to
he's
him.
Younger.
Like, he's so much younger than
I was saying he's younger than Matt Duchene. He's paid less than Matt Duchene, but he's in that kind of tier of Matt Duchene. You know what I mean?
Right. Tomas Hertl, he's 27.
Yeah, but like he just turned 27, right?
His birthday is November 12th.
Oh, so not really.
So he'll be 28.
Okay.
And then he's got this year at 5.625, and then he's a UFA in 22-23. So he's got this year to figure it out.
Right.
Doug's got this year to figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, I think at this point, like if I'm the Sharks, like you'd love to keep this guy around, but if you're rebuilding, man, it'd be best to trade him because you can get a lot for this guy.
Oh, you could, yeah.
You get a haul and a half.
I mean, my buddy Cody could tell you all about that. Like he wants full on rebuild mode at this point.
They need to.
Colton Parayko signs a big deal.
Yeah, it's a little concerning in terms of the term because he started off his career really, really good.
8 years, 52 total.
Yeah. This guy has seen a dip in his production, both defensively and offensively, the last couple of years. He's still solid. He's still a good
Very
second
good right shot.
pairing defenseman. I'm just not sold that he is a first pairing defenseman.
Right shot though, so that's where he gets the.
That's where he gets that extra million.
Yeah,
and a half,
that's where he
probably.
gets that big praise.
Yeah,
Is being a right shot. I've heard
and being big and being really big.
being a big guy that knows how to put the puck in the net as a right shot D, and it's like a bit comparable because this is coming up, for the next off season that I've heard is like comparing what Morgan Riley could get.
If I'm
Colton
talking
could
about
get.
if I'm talking picking between these two guys, I'd much rather have Morgan Riley because Parayko's defensive numbers have definitely seen a dip the last 2 years.
Well, so have
And
Riley's.
I know, but here's the difference. I know how good offensively Morgan Riley is, whereas even strength offense from Colton Parayko, he's more of a defensive defenseman who's had towards the beginning of his career, he had a very high shooting percentage clip.
Well, that's why he was
shooting above his grade.
That's why he was so good when, Petro was there when they won the cup.
That's the other thing. I agree with that. Petro was there, so he was locked into that second pair role, and I thought he was outstanding in it. And now that Petro's not there, they've been kind of like
he's the guy
back and forth between him and Justin Falk. And I'm not sure. I think both Justin Falk and Colton Parayko are very good second pair defensemen.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of them are first pair defensemen, and they got to rely on one of those two guys to fill that role.
Yeah.
And that's why I think there's a little bit of a struggle there.
This one's technically unconfirmed, but I mean, it's confirmed on social media by the team. It's just technically unconfirmed on Cap Friendly. Drake Batherson, 6 years, 4.975 cap hit.
Yeah, they're playing long range game, hoping that they can sign this guy to a long-term deal, and then 3 years, maybe even 2 years, this is going to be an absolute steal. I like Drake Batherson's game a lot.
Yeah.
I really like what I saw from him this year in Ottawa, but the only concern I do have about him is sometimes when we're looking at some of these bad teams that are rebuilding, like the Senators are,
and they also look a lot better than. Yeah.
Like, is this guy a true top 6 option for them? Or is he a guy who is, pretty good offensively, is playing in the top 6 because the Senators aren't very good, produces, and as the team grows, develops a little bit more, he kind of goes down a little bit, you know what I mean? Like that's where this could go one of two ways. This guy could be a legitimate top 6 option who keeps getting better and is absolutely worth that money, or maybe it was a little bit of fool's gold.
I say DJ Smith plays him with Thomas Chabot this year to see how that plays out.
Drake Batherson?
Yeah.
Why would they play together?
Are they both the same shot?
He's not a defenseman.
Oh, he's fucking. I'm looking at yeah. Okay, so yeah, Batherson with maybe like Tierney.
Yeah.
I
mean, they're both centers, so.
Well, he also plays right wing.
Okay, they could. I mean, because your number one center is going to be Tim Stützle. They're going to put those. He's going to put.
I thought it was going to be Norris.
They could. That's the thing. Norris is good too. I mean, you can go either way with that. Okay, so Tkachuk's going to be on your first line.
Imagine this. So Drake's got this, right? We've been debating over on the SDPN Discord, like, what's Brady going to get, right? We think he's going to get somewhere between 6. I think he's getting somewhere between 6 and 7. That's what I think for Brady. But then if you pay him, more than that, if you pay him like an 8 times 8, are you still there?
Yes.
I got Cap Friendly up. Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make sure. If you pay him 8 times 8 and Batherson's making what he's making, imagine what Jimmy's going to ask for if he keeps the clip that he's been keeping.
Right.
So that's going to turn into a cap crunch for Melnyk real quick. Melnyk and Dorian.
Yeah, because it's not even really just on Pierre Dorian. It's on the fact that Eugene Melnyk doesn't really want to shell out that money either.
Is one of the cheapest owners in the league.
In sports, really.
In sports, yes.
He's brutal.
He's so brutal.
That's a tough situation for them. They might have to deal with kind of what the Maple Leafs had to deal with Nylander. They may have to deal with this kid that they really like, a Brady Tkachuk, holding out solely because you can't really afford, as an organization that the Ottawa Senators are, to just shell out the kind of money
that's tough
that he's going to be asking for. Because if he's asking for anything over $7 million, I don't feel comfortable doing that. If in a perfect world, you would give him a bridge deal, you'd give him a 2-year deal, and you'd pay him 6.5.
Sure.
Because that's reasonable
for Brady.
Okay. And he'd still be an RFA, and then you can give him his big boy deal after 2 years. That's how usually you go about it.
Well, personally, I also don't think, because Matthew in Calgary makes 7 on the button. And this is nothing against the way Brady plays or anything like that. I just think Matthew's the better of the two of them.
Yes, I agree with that.
So I think 6.5 is fine.
Yeah.
And hell, even if he is making 7, like, that's
right.
Pretty okay too. Like
I just don't want him making a cent over $7 million until I see a little bit more out of him.
Right.
Because we've seen what he can be, and I like what I see from him, but we haven't really seen that like exponential growth season by season that you want to see from a young player. I see him getting a little bit better, but he's still just very good at what he does.
Those two are both Marchand 2.0. Like
I think Matthew is.
Matthew's a Marchand 2.0, and then Brady is just.
I'm concerned a little bit with Brady because I think he has the potential to be what his brother is.
Yeah.
But I also think at where he's at right now, I'm worried that there might be a little bit of stagnation in his development. And if he does stagnate in his development, what is he? He's just another James Van Riemsdyk, who's a very good player, but that's not what you're hoping for with a 4th overall pick, who's supposed to be your franchise guy.
Yes. This is just to chirp, but who's uglier? Brady. Yeah, I would say Brady.
I don't know. I don't think Matthew's bad looking.
He's got good hair.
Yeah, the hair's great.
The whole chirping with your mouth guard hanging out thing, talking like Popeye, is dumb.
I think it's hilarious.
It's weird. But it's funny. Kind of gross. Joel Farabee. This is one that I was excited for. Because this is even keel $5 million a year for 6.
Mm-hmm.
I really like this because I love what I've seen from Joel Farabee already.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he can keep it up, especially playing with a guy like Kevin Hayes.
Right.
Because
I like Farabee a lot too.
Those two developed a lot of good chemistry together over the last, 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
Over the 2 shortened seasons. So
I would say, like, in a down year for the Flyers, you can make the argument he was probably their best forward last year.
Probably.
He's their most consistent.
And he's such a fun, like, just watching him play and watching him smile. We need more guys out there that just, like, smile that big and have that much fun.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I'm not paying him for a smile, though.
No, I'm paying him to produce. And
this guy does.
So far he has. Which is great. Riley Sheahan to the Kraken, $850K for the year.
Oh, good for him, man.
I still need to listen to his podcast. A little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, good on Riley. He's getting back into it. our friend Jack Johnson.
Oh, baby. Experience the magic.
Professional tryout with the Avalanche.
Oh, baby. He's probably just going to be like a camp body for them, I'd imagine. But it's just the idea.
I want to see him make it as a 70, please.
Because he's so much fun to watch. But it just goes against everything the Avalanche are about. They're like every single one of their defensemen is just amazing analytically. Adding Jack Johnson to that group would just be so freaking hilarious.
Just dive bomb it.
Yeah.
But and you know, like we love Jack because, like, I mean, this is just us as Columbus fans, and he was a part of our team for such a long time.
And he wasn't bad with us, or at least he wasn't Pittsburgh, New York bad with us.
Yeah, ugh. He wasn't like flying out of the penalty box and running into two of your own teammates bad.
Yeah, he was at least like he was never really great with us defensively, but he at least like when he was with us, he at least
could put the puck in the net. Whew.
I mean, I know we lost the series, but you remember how good he was in 2014 in the playoffs against the Penguins?
That was when we all started coming together on social too.
Yeah. I think he had like 7 points in those 6 games against the Penguins. It was crazy.
That was the start of the fifth line, wasn't it?
It was.
That 2014?
The start of the fifth line movement. Yeah.
All the best to JJ, especially with what he's been through over the past few years.
Yeah.
And I really hope he makes it. Quick notes on a couple scandals again. Well, not scandals, but iffy things. The Sharks assistant coach, Rocky Thompson, stepped down for reasons about a medical exemption preventing him from taking COVID vaccine.
Okay.
So that's, at least I found that kind of interesting.
It's interesting. I mean, if this guy had, I doubt that he's lying. If he has like legitimate like medical reasons as to why he doesn't want to get the vaccine, then he shouldn't. Like, you don't want to put your life in danger. And if it's best for him just to step away for however long he needs just to be safe about it, then do it. I'm supportive of that.
The league does have their 21-22 protocols out, which we can probably talk about that more on Tuesday.
Yeah.
But they do have their protocols out for this year. There was a minor Blackhawks lawsuit that got dropped. That's a little bit different, but I think it's creepier because it was over like facial recognition software.
Oh, geez. I didn't even hear about this. What happened?
I literally just heard about this the other day. From Sheahan, because I mean, where else? Right. But yeah, there was something where like a patron or something was suing the team over like use of, it's all like really murky. And again, they dropped the lawsuit, so this is like over and done with. But like they were using like weird facial recognition technology on people, like I'm assuming for attendance reasons. And like, you know how like we all go through the metal detectors?
Yeah.
I'm assuming reasons like that, but then that also gets into the realm of like personal like your
privacy,
your own privacy.
Yeah.
Like I don't know if they were using that for private information purposes in order to sell season tickets more or anything like that. But I just thought it was kind of weird and I wanted to bring it up.
Right.
The guys where you are have a couple of signings.
Yeah, I like both the signings.
Both the signings are the exact same thing.
Yeah, 3 years, 2.75 million average annual value. Jokiharju, there's a little bit of concern. He's a solid defenseman.
Mm-hmm.
I think right now he's a solid third pair right-hand shot defenseman with second pair potential.
Yeah.
But we have seen him, kind of stagnate a little bit in terms of his development, but still think that there's time for him to improve.
Mhm.
But I really like the Casey Mittelstadt
The
extension.
Casey deal is
That
perfect.
guy, 19 points in 22 games after Ralph Kruger got fired.
Wow. Okay, I didn't even realize
Yeah.
he was that good.
So he was really, really good under Don Granato, who just got the job. They removed the interim
The
label.
interim tag is
And
off.
exactly. So I think that there's, obviously there's not a lot of brightness in Buffalo right now with the whole Jack Eichel situation. You already traded Sam
Get
Reinhart.
that
You traded
sorted
Rasmus
out.
Ristolainen. You lost Linus Ullmark. Like there's a lot of things that people are kind of like upset about, but there's definite hope. You still have
Mhm.
Rasmus Dahlin. You just got Owen Power in the draft. And I think Casey Mittelstadt, a guy who tore up the World Juniors,
Mhm.
was, I think, the 7th or 8th overall pick by the Sabres, really started to show out last year under Don Granato, who's now your head coach. So there should at least be some hope. This guy looks really good. And also Dylan Cousins looks very good for them. So
Both
there's at
of those
least,
guys look like they could be breakout guys now that Granato is the bench boss.
I 100% agree with that. I like that hire. I mean, I don't necessarily know if Don Granato is going to be your legitimate head coach for the next 10 years,
No, I
helping
don't
you
see
in
it.
when your conference, go to the playoffs several times. But this is a guy who, and we
He's
talked
going to
about
be a
this,
part of the building process, which they
he's going to
need
be a
that.
part of the building process, and he's going to be a guy that goes in, that's just maybe not there to win games, but just help player development, which is
Right.
something that Buffalo has really, really struggled with. Because if they can get Casey Mittelstadt to where they wanted him to be, that's a huge win for the Sabres. Because for the last 2 years, I've been sitting here thinking, like, God, I just don't see it with this kid anymore. Casey Mittelstadt looked like he was really going down. It didn't look like there was that. He looked like the next Sonny Milano to me.
Do you
And
think?
then Granato comes in and complete turnaround.
Do you think he gets the top line job once Jack's gone?
For first line center, he could. I think that there's probably going to be a battle between him and Dylan Cousins.
Because it's definitely like at this point, it's a matter of when Jack's traded.
Yes, it's not a matter of if, it's when.
Yeah.
He has played his last game for the Sabres.
Which is a shame because
Yeah.
he could have done so much for him, and
Yeah.
they just never saw eye to eye.
He can still do a lot for him if they get a lot for him.
Yeah, true. And they will get a lot for him, I would think.
Because
I'd
have to imagine.
No, think about it. Even with the injury,
Yeah.
you're still trading the second overall pick from 2015, which was the biggest draft.
A superstar.
Yeah. Like we said, probably the biggest draft since 03.
I mean, the Coyotes just got a first and a second for Christian Dvorak. I mean,
Right.
like even with the injury, like they're still going to get a haul for this guy.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to wrap on this question for you.
Sure.
Well, I'm going to start with a statement. I want to play fantasy again this year. I want to get back into it. Okay. Would you be interested in starting an ESPN league again?
Who would it be with?
We could ask some of our friends again. Like, I don't know if Kevin would want to again.
Yeah.
I don't know about Jason. Maybe. We could tweet it like on the podcast Twitter and see if anybody would want to.
Right. 1 second. I have to be right back in a second. I have to let my roommate in because the door locked on him and he's an idiot.
Go for it. But yeah, I want to get back into fantasy hockey again because we haven't done that in years and years. When we did it for we did an 8-team league. It's just a bunch of friends. We did that for like 3 years, maybe 4. And I thought it was a lot of fun, especially the drafting and that kind of thing. Like the draft was my favorite part, and then getting the set. Like you and I made a couple fun trades.
Yeah. And it's been so long. I mean, I remember when I did it. Like, I think I drafted Danny Heatley first overall, and this is
You
when he
did?
wasn't even good. He wasn't even a good player, and I just did it as a joke.
He wasn't
That'd be
well
funny.
because like Heatley was your thing back then.
Yeah, he still is. He's still my Snapchat.
Yeah, I know, and I wish you could change your Snapchat.
I
still.
don't. I'm
Like,
gonna keep it.
No,
there
I mean
forever.
just like I wish that was a function that you could do. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But yeah, so if you want to do it, I'm down, and we can tweet for anybody else that's interested. You can, DM one of us. I'll probably end up being league commissioner if we end up doing this. We got about a month till the season starts, so
For
I
sure.
would probably like to have the draft on like October 1st or 2nd,
Okay.
or like sometime around that weekend.
Yeah, that's fine.
But DM me or Jay if you're interested in the league. We'll probably just go with 8 teams again.
Probably.
Just 8, cap it off at 8, because that's a good size. But yeah, fantasy and Olympics and the Summer of Lou.
Is that what we're gonna name this? Summer of Lou.
This is absolutely going to be called the Summer of Lou.
I love it.
Bye, y'all. See you Tuesday. Thank God we have a consistent schedule.
Jake Jackets, a podcast for fifth liners and all puckheads around. Follow the guys on Twitter at Snake Garinger, GARRINGER, and at By J Ashdown. And subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen. March on.